Lieutenant Mira Cade was not supposed to be alive. At least, not anymore. Inside a cold, dark prison cell deep in the Varnock warship, she sat chained to the wall. Blood covered her face. Her uniform was torn. Her hands were shaking. The only light in the room was a faint red glow above the door, like a heartbeat, blinking slowly. For 3 days, the aliens had tortured her. The Varnock were cruel. Tall, gray creatures with 4 arms and hard, armor-like skin. They hated humans. They thought humans were weak, soft, emotional. They wanted Earth's defense codes. Mira refused to speak. Every day, they used machines that tore at her nerves. They injected pain into her mind. They made her scream until her voice broke. And somewhere, deep in space, that scream was heard. "This is Lieutenant Cade. Anyone, please." The message repeated again and again, broken and filled with static. On Earth's outpost station, Commander Harlan stared at the screen. His face was pale. "That's Mira," he whispered. A young officer beside him leaned forward. "But she was captured 2 weeks ago." The fleet said no survivors. "I know what I'm hearing," Harlan said. "That's her voice." But the signal ended suddenly. Then, silence. Back on the Varnock ship, Mira's body stopped moving. Her head dropped forward. Her heart gave one last beat, then went still. The lead Varnock scientist stepped forward and checked her pulse. "She is dead," he said in a cold voice. "The human has expired." The guards nodded. One of them smirked. "Weak creature. Could not even last 4 days. Take the body to the lab. Strip the mind. Maybe something is still left inside." They dragged her body out of the cell. Blood left a trail on the floor. Her hands hung loose. Her skin turned pale. She was gone. Or so they thought. 37 minutes later, inside the lab, machines beeped softly. Mira's body lay on a metal table. A scanner moved slowly across her head. Suddenly, the lights above flickered. The machine stopped. A low hum filled the room. Like a strange breath. Like the ship itself was holding still. Then Mira's eyes opened. Not wide. Not sudden. Slowly. Calmly. They were no longer brown. They were silver. She sat up, without a sound. No breath. No gasp. Just movement, smooth and cold. A Varnock scientist turned around and dropped his tools. She was dead. Mira turned her head toward him. No emotion. No pain. Just silence. She stood up. The scanner sparked and caught fire. One guard raised his weapon, shouting, "Stay back." She didn't move. But he dropped his weapon. His nose bled. His hands shook. Then he fell to the ground, eyes wide in fear. She never touched him. The other guards ran. Back on Earth's station, another signal came through. "Sir, we're receiving something again," the young officer said. Commander Harlan rushed back to the screen. "Is it her?" "I don't know. It's strange." The signal played. It was Mira's voice, but slow, deep, echoing. "I am not alone." Then static. In the Varnock ship, Mira walked through the halls. Cameras watched her. Doors opened without touch. Lights dimmed as she passed. An old alien officer whispered, "This is not the same human. Something else walks in her skin." She kept moving. Guards tried to stop her. Some screamed. Some begged. None survived. Commander Harlan looked at the transmission again. "What did she mean?" he asked aloud. "Not alone." No one answered. The stars outside the station seemed darker than before. And deep in space, on the silent warship, Mira stood at a window, staring at Earth. Silver eyes, still face. Then, a smile. Mira walked through the Varnock warship like she had been there all her life. But she didn't remember this place. She didn't remember anything clearly. She only knew she had died. And now, she was walking again. Her bare feet touched the cold metal floor. Blood stained her clothes. The pain was gone. So was the fear. She felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness, not even confusion. Only a strange voice inside her mind. Not in words, but in feelings. "Go forward," it whispered, and she obeyed. 2 Varnock guards waited at the next hallway. Their weapons were raised. "Stop," one of them shouted. "You are not allowed to move." She looked at them with silver eyes. Calm, silent. They fired. The energy blasts hit her chest, but the light bent around her. No damage, not even a mark. She raised her hand. The guards screamed. They dropped their weapons and fell to their knees. Their bodies shook like something was crawling inside their heads. Then, silence. Both were dead. Mira kept walking. On the bridge of the ship, the Varnock commander slammed his fist on the control panel. "How is this possible?" he growled. "She was dead. I want every camera on her. Track her. Stop her." One of his officers turned pale. "Sir, the cameras are shutting down one by one. Something is moving with her." "What do you mean?" "I mean she's not walking alone." Meanwhile, Mira reached a large black door. Behind it was the hangar. Escape ships were inside. She didn't know how she knew that, but she did. The voice in her mind grew louder now. "Home," it whispered. She touched the door. It opened without sound. Inside, a dozen Varnock soldiers waited. One of them, a high-ranking officer, stepped forward. "You will not leave this ship. You are a weapon now. Ours." Mira said nothing. She didn't need to. The walls around them began to shake. The lights flickered. Cold wind blew through the sealed hangar. It felt wrong, like something else had entered the room. Then the soldiers dropped to their knees, one by one. They held their heads, screaming in pain. One of them shouted, "Get her out. It's inside her." But she never moved. They were seeing something only they could see. Some tried to shoot, but their weapons jammed. Some tried to run, but the doors closed on their own. Within seconds, all were gone. The hangar was quiet again. Far away, in Earth's orbit, Commander Harlan looked at the newest transmission. His team had just received it. "It's her again," the young officer said. "Put it on screen." The video was short. Mira's face appeared, close to the camera. Her skin was pale, eyes glowing silver. She looked calm, too calm. She spoke slowly. "I'm coming home." Then the video glitched. For a second, another face flashed behind hers. Not human, not Varnock. Just eyes, black and endless. Harlan stood up. "That's not just Mira. There's something else inside her." Inside the warship hangar, Mira entered a small escape ship. She sat in the pilot's seat and placed her hands on the controls. She didn't press any buttons. But the ship came alive. The engines hummed. Lights turned green. She closed her eyes. The ship lifted and flew out into space. On Earth's defense station, alarms rang. "Unknown ship approaching." Someone yelled. "Identify it," Harlan shouted. A screen showed a small escape pod coming fast. Too fast. Another officer looked worried. "Sir, it's Varnock tech, but the energy inside is strange." Harlan stared at the screen. He knew it was her, but he also knew she wasn't coming back as the same Mira. In the escape ship, Mira sat quietly. Her silver eyes stared ahead. The voice in her mind now spoke clearly. "You were chosen." She didn't ask why. She simply replied, "I know." Behind her, the stars seemed to move, twisting, bending, watching her. Something had crossed with her, from death to life. And it was still with her. The small escape ship entered Earth's orbit. No welcome, no warning. Just silence. Inside the Earth Defense Command Tower, Commander Harlan stood frozen. He watched the ship on the screen. It hovered above the atmosphere, not landing, not moving. "Mira's inside that thing," he whispered. One of his officers asked, "Should we shoot it down?" Harlan didn't answer right away. They all remembered Mira Cade. She was one of the best. Brave, strong, loyal. But the Mira inside that ship now, she felt wrong. "Scan her," he finally said. The scan started. The results made no sense. "There's a human inside," the officer said, "but her brainwaves are too perfect, too clean, like a machine." "What else?" Harlan asked. "She's putting out energy, lots of it." "Sir, no human body should survive that." Another screen blinked red. "And now we're getting signals from satellites. She's talking to them, not us. She's bypassing Earth command." Harlan's voice was sharp. "Yes, sir. She's opening our old satellite defense systems and rewriting their code." In space, Mira's ship just floated. She didn't touch the controls. Her hands rested on her lap. But her eyes were open, silver and glowing. One by one, Earth's satellites turned toward her. Their lights changed. Their signals shifted. And then, they all went quiet. She had taken control. On Earth, people across cities lost internet. Screens went black. Power lines buzzed. Air traffic control systems paused mid-command. The sky above started to flicker. No one knew why. But some looked up and saw her ship, like a small black eye watching from space. Inside the defense tower, alarms screamed. "She's inside the command grid," an officer yelled. "She's reading our nuclear vaults, our war files. She knows everything." Commander Harlan's face went pale. "She's not attacking," he said slowly. "She's studying." "Why?" Someone whispered. Harlan looked at the screen. "I don't think she's planning to destroy us." "Then what?" "I think she's deciding if we deserve to survive." In orbit, Mira closed her eyes. The voice inside her spoke again. "This world is yours, but your kind has hurt it." She didn't speak. "You burned your forests, poisoned your air, created weapons for fear, not peace." She still said nothing. "You died once. We brought you back. You are the judge now." Commander Harlan ordered all defense systems locked. "Do not fire unless she makes the first move," he said. "We shoot, we die." But even as he spoke, another officer shouted, "Sir, she's speaking again." The transmission came through. This time, everyone on Earth heard it. Not just the soldiers. Everyone. "I was Mira Cade," the voice echoed. "I died in a place of pain. But something found me in the dark. It brought me back. And now, I see more than before." Children heard the voice on their tablets. Doctors heard it in their hospital comms. Miners underground heard it in their radios. Everyone heard it. And for a moment, the whole planet stopped. Commander Harlan sat down slowly. "She's using our network to talk to the world." The officer nodded. "Sir, what do we do?" "We listen," he said. In space, Mira's face appeared on every screen. She looked human, but her silver eyes were not. "Earth," she said calmly, "you are standing at the edge. Change or fall." Then the screens went black. Inside the ship, Mira leaned back in her seat. Her voice in her head spoke again. "You have warned them. Now watch." Mira didn't smile, didn't frown. She simply waited, because she knew the test was only beginning. For the next 3 days, Mira's ship stayed in the same place. It floated quietly above Earth like a silent judge. No movement, no more messages, no attacks. But every country on Earth felt her presence. Governments panicked. Military forces stood ready. People held their breath, wondering what would happen next. But Mira just watched. Inside her escaped ship, the lights were dim. Her silver eyes stayed open, unblinking. The voice in her mind was quiet now. It had already spoken. Now it was time for Earth to answer. On the ground, Commander Harlan stood before the world's leaders at a global emergency meeting. "She's not here to destroy us," he said. Some leaders disagreed. "She's a threat," one shouted. "She controls our satellites." Another added, "What if she's working with the Varnuk?" But Harlan shook his head. "She killed their soldiers. She escaped their ship. And she warned us. If she wanted Earth to burn, it would already be ash." Silence followed. Then a quiet voice from the back asked the only question that mattered. "Then what does she want?" Harlan answered, "She wants us to change." Across the world, something strange began to happen. People, regular people, started making small choices. A group of fishermen in South Asia stopped using poison nets after hearing Mira's warning. In a large city, a power plant shut down for inspection after a group of engineers reread their safety reports. A teenager in Brazil hacked into an illegal weapons market and crashed it, just because he wanted to do something good. And everywhere, people began to speak again about hope, about peace, about protecting their world. No one told them to. But something inside them had changed. It was as if Mira's voice had awakened something long lost. Inside the escape ship, Mira saw all of it. She didn't need cameras or internet. She could feel the thoughts, the decisions, the shifts. She whispered only one word: better. But not all humans wanted change. Deep in a desert military base, a secret group was building a weapon. They believed Mira was a threat to human control. "She's alien now," their commander said. "Not one of us." They finished the weapon in silence. It was a satellite-based beam, designed to pierce any ship's defenses. And they pointed it at Mira's escape ship. Commander Harlan learned about it too late. He rushed into the control center. "Don't do it. She's not attacking." But the rogue general only smiled. "She's not human anymore. We take the shot." The weapon powered up. The sky flashed. A white-hot beam shot upward, straight at Mira. The escape ship didn't move, didn't dodge. The beam hit. A flash of light filled the sky. People looked up in fear. "Did we just kill her?" someone whispered. Then the light vanished, and Mira's ship still floated, untouched. No damage. Not even a scratch. Inside her ship, Mira opened her eyes. She wasn't angry, not surprised, just quiet. The voice in her mind returned. "They fear what they don't understand." Mira nodded. "But still, some want to change." She looked down at Earth. The people didn't know what would happen next. Would she punish them? Would she leave? Or was she waiting for something else? Then she sent one more message. Just 3 words. "I am watching." People saw the message in clouds, in code, in dreams. Not everyone believed it. But those who did began to live differently. Because they knew she had come back. Not just from death, but with a purpose. And that purpose was not over yet. It had been a week since Mira's ship appeared in Earth's sky. A week since the world learned what it meant to face something beyond human. In every corner of the planet, people waited. Some believed she was a savior, sent to guide them into a new age. Others feared she was a harbinger of doom, a reminder of their darkest mistakes. And still, there was no answer from Mira herself. Her ship hovered silently in the sky, like a quiet witness to everything below. In the world's largest cities, life had begun to shift. Slowly, quietly. Farmers were planting new crops, avoiding harmful chemicals. Scientists in labs were trying to discover clean energy. Schools taught children to protect nature. And everywhere, people spoke of change. But not everyone was listening. A new government group rose in the shadows, calling themselves the Resistors. They believed that Mira wasn't the answer. They didn't want to change. They wanted to fight. "Humans cannot be controlled," their leader, General Brock, shouted. "We will not be judged by anyone, especially not an alien." Their goal was clear. They were going to attack Mira's ship, prove humanity's strength, and take back control. The world's governments tried to stop them. "Stop the attacks," Commander Harlan warned. "This is not the way. Mira gave us a chance to change, but we must do it without violence." But General Brock ignored him. "We don't bend, we fight." And that's exactly what they did. On a remote military base, a fleet of fighter jets prepared for launch. They were armed with missiles, high-tech, powerful weapons designed to break through even the toughest defenses. "Ready to fire," the commander said, glancing at Brock. "Do it," Brock ordered. The jets soared into the sky, leaving a trail of smoke behind them. Mira's ship, high above Earth, watched them approach. The energy in the air thickened. Mira's silver eyes glowed as she felt the threat below. The fighters locked their missiles onto the ship and fired. The sky exploded with light. But Mira's ship didn't flinch. The missiles never hit. The moment they came close, they turned to dust. Not a single piece of metal remained. The world below watched in shock. The missiles were gone. The fighters were falling from the sky, their engines destroyed. Mira didn't move. She didn't speak. But her ship hovered lower. It was like she was looking at the world, at all of them, deeply, quietly. At Earth's main command center, Harlan's face was grim. "We need to stop this. Now." But it was too late. General Brock, standing in front of his remaining soldiers, screamed in frustration. "She's too powerful. We can't beat her." Suddenly, something new happened. Mira's voice, calm and unhurried, echoed through the world's networks. She spoke to everyone. "I did not come to destroy you," she said, her voice soft. "I came to guide. But your fear holds you back." There was silence. Then the voice continued. "You are not meant to rule over each other. You are meant to protect, to grow, to love." And then she asked something no one expected. "Will you follow?" People across Earth heard the question. It was like the voice was inside their minds. Some were too afraid to respond. Others didn't know what to believe. But in every corner of the world, something began to change. Commander Harlan stood before the United Nations, watching as the leaders of Earth began to speak. "We must listen," one said. "If we keep fighting, we will lose everything." Another leader nodded. "This is our chance to rebuild, to protect our planet." But deep in the shadows, the resistors were still plotting. Brock wasn't done yet. He believed humanity could never be ruled. He believed Mira was just the beginning of something worse. But Mira had already made her move. She was watching. And now she had given humanity a choice. The world stood at a crossroads. Would they fight Mira, believing their way was the only way? Or would they accept the change she promised and rebuild their world for the future? Mira waited, her silver eyes locked on Earth below. She knew that their decision would shape everything. And then, as if she had made her decision, Mira's ship began to rise. Higher, faster. People watched in awe as it disappeared into the sky. Some feared it was the end. Others hoped it was just the beginning. For days, Mira's ship remained gone. The world below was caught in silence. The skies were clear. The air was still. The hum of city life went on as usual. But something had changed. People weren't the same. The fear was gone. The tension was lower. But now, a new question haunted every mind. Had Mira truly left? Or was she watching still? Commander Harlan stood in his office, staring at the empty sky. He knew she was still out there. He could feel it. The messages had stopped. The world was waiting. But he wasn't sure what they were waiting for. Across Earth, the changes Mira had warned about started to grow. The Earth was healing. Cities were cleaning their streets. Rivers were getting clearer. Farmers planted crops that didn't harm the soil. There was a sense of hope in the air, something people hadn't felt in decades. But in the dark corners, the resistors were still active. General Brock wasn't ready to accept what had happened. He believed Mira's actions were a trick, a test. "They'll betray us," Brock insisted. She doesn't want peace. She wants control. But most people ignored him now. The majority had started believing the change could be real. One morning, a strange thing happened. A small child in New York looked up at the sky, and then the sky shimmered. At first, it was just a ripple, like heat waves rising from the ground. But then it spread, fast, like a ripple across water. The shimmer stretched across the sky, until it covered the entire planet. And then, in every city, on every screen, on every communication device, Mira's voice came through again. It was clear. It was powerful. But this time, it was not just a warning. I have been watching. You have begun to listen. But now, it is time to show you what you can become. The world froze. Mira's ship appeared in the sky again, but it was different. This time, it wasn't alone. From the edges of Earth's atmosphere, thousands of ships came into view, small, large, floating in perfect formation. They were like her ship, silent, glowing, waiting. But they were not alone. The moment the ships appeared, the Earth's atmosphere changed. The temperature rose slightly. The air felt heavier. Not in a dangerous way, but in a way that made people aware of what was happening. These ships, these new arrivals, were not a threat. They were something more. And Mira's voice spoke again. I have come not just to guide, but to teach, to show you the strength you have always had, but never knew. This is the beginning of your true awakening. In every corner of the planet, people stood still, staring at the ships. Some were afraid, but most felt something else. A deep connection. A sense that the world was not as alone as it once seemed. In the command center, Commander Harlan watched the screens. He could see the ships, each one positioning itself above every major city. This is it, he whispered. She's showing us everything. Mira's voice continued. You have struggled with your choices. You have fought, hurt, and broken. But you also have the power to rebuild. The power to rise above all the destruction and chaos you've known. I have shared what I know. And now, I will teach you. For the first time in years, people felt a new kind of strength. It wasn't a weapon or a military force. It wasn't control. It was something deeper. It was unity. And then, something remarkable happened. The ships above Earth began to glow brighter. And from the heart of the largest ship, a soft light began to spread. It pulsed, like a heartbeat, and then sent out waves of energy that washed over the planet. At first, it was just a light. But as the waves passed over people, something inside them changed. They felt clearer. They saw their world with new eyes. They understood the beauty, the power, the fragility of their home. It was like they had always known, but had forgotten. On every continent, people looked up. They could feel it too. A farmer in the fields of Africa smiled as his crops grew taller, healthier, faster than before. A scientist in Europe watched her new experiments work without error. A teacher in Japan saw her students learning faster, their minds sharper than ever. It was happening. The world was waking up. But there was still one question. Why had Mira come back? Why had she given humanity this gift? Mira's final message came, clear and calm. You are not alone. You never were. You are part of something much bigger, a part of a galaxy that is waiting for you. You are not a mistake. You are not a dying race. You are the beginning. The ships above Earth began to move, slowly, gracefully, turning towards the far reaches of space. As they left, Mira's final words echoed in every mind. The choice is now yours. Rise or fall. But know this, there is no turning back. The future begins now. And then the ships were gone, silent, just as they had come. But the world had changed forever.